Hey everyone, how are you? In this video, I am going to tell you about agents in Cursor, and this video is specifically for beginners. The goal of this video is to help the new users of Cursor understand what exactly is an agent, what it can do, and how to use it safely. Now let's talk about what is Cursor agent. And the first thing you need to understand is, let's create a scenario where you are a coder and you have a teammate. What your teammate can do for you? A teammate can help you in your code, can assist you understanding your code, or maybe they can give you some code which you can use to make your project better, right? So that's exactly what the agent is in Cursor. It's the AI teammate inside Cursor. So what I mean by this is, let's open Cursor and let's try to understand this. So this is a normal Cursor window, and this looks very much similar to VS Code, right? VS Code is one of the most famous IDE or integrated development environment using which you write your code in your projects, right? Like I have a project Simple Notes app which we created using Cursor in the last video of this series. Now, I told you that Cursor agent are just an AI teammate which is inside Cursor. So where it is? It is at the top right where you will see the button toggle agents, and when you click on this button, you get to see a window which has this chat. Now, how do you make use of a teammate? How do you get a help from a teammate? You give the teammate some instructions that, hey buddy, I need this help, right? So what in return you get? In return, you get a response from the teammate. So that's what we are about to do. We have an agent which is a teammate. We give the agent some instructions and it will follow the instructions and perform the work. So that's basically a Cursor agent is. It is an AI teammate inside Cursor which can read your files, edit your files, run some terminal commands, search on the web, search your code, and use browser tools to make some request to a web page, read that web page, scroll on that web page, and it can even take screenshots and review that web page. This agent is not very much beneficial if you just want a single line of auto completion. This is really helpful when you have a task which involves multiple steps. There is a big task which involves multiple steps, multiple changes to your files, and you want to maintain the best practices. Then Cursor agent is very much helpful. Why it is not good for one line completion? That's because you can do it, and everything involves a cost, right? It's not free. Generally, it's not free. So you don't want to just involve a cost on the things which you can do it very simply. Now we know what is a Cursor agent. But how does Cursor agent works? It works with instructions, and that's what I have told you earlier, that how would you make use of a teammate? You would give the teammate an instruction. So let's actually give it. Let's say we have a project Simple Notes app and we are making use of the Cursor agent. So this is the agent, right? I have already written an instruction. So let me just copy that instruction to give you the demonstration. So this is the instruction. Now I have opened a fresh new agent. What I will do is I will give it an instruction to read Simple Notes app project and add a random utility function. This is like giving an instruction to your teammate, right? Now, before I hit the enter button and give it the instruction, let me tell you that instructions are nothing but system commands, system prompt plus rules plus your own command or own prompt. Right now, I have given it a simple prompt, but it can also have in the background some system prompts with the help of rules. That is, you can set some rules, some predefined rules for your project level or your whole Cursor level, which will always be followed as a system prompt in your instructions. But we are going to see this rules things in a separate video because this is a very important concept which we want to understand in deep. But in short, if I tell you, let's say you are having a teammate or let's say you are 4 people in a same project. Your organization, your architect has given you some instructions that you can do this, but you have to follow these rules, right? So even though you have the knowledge to do the same task in many different ways, you will follow a given rule and then you will do the task, right? So those are the rules, but we will talk about the rules later on. For now, let's give it an instruction and let's see what's the output we get. The first thing we see is it's planning the next moves and it's scanning the Simple Notes app project, the structure it is scanning, and then it will do some changes in the project. We will see what's the changes it has done. For now, let's move ahead and let's understand one more topic, which is tools. How agent works is using the instructions, but how it is actually able to do the thing is because it got some tools. It got search tools, edit tools, terminal tools, browser tools, and many other tools. Using the search tool, it can search a website and get its content. It can edit and read your code. It can access your terminal. It can access a browser, right? So these are the tools which it has using which it performs its task. Also, there is something called as model, which is the brain of your agent. We have heard about many large language models like Claude, like Gemini, like GPT models, which are really good in coding, right? So these are the models which actually understands your instructions, calls the tools, and performs the action. You can switch to models based on the complexity, but let me show you how you do it. If you go to the cursor, you will see that you have this auto option. If you click on this, you can disable this option and see the different models. If you click on auto, automatically it will choose the model. But if you are on a free version of cursor, you will not be able to switch to the model. I have a paid version, so it had the option of switching from auto to manual and selecting the model. For now, let's keep it as auto. Now let's actually see the response which we have got. So if you see the response, here I told it to read my project and add a random utility function. What it did was it added a random function def random int, and it did it in the utils file. Now this is really smart to understand that if I have told it to read the simple notes app project, my actual project name is simple underscore notes underscore app, it knows what project to search even though I have not given it the exact name. And it knows what exactly to do in which particular file. It has done the changes in the utils file because it knows that if a user asks to add a random function, a random utility function, we already have a utils file, we can utilize it. So it did the changes. If you open this utils.py file, that's the file. You can actually review the change and you can keep the change or ignore the change. If I see this change, this is the change which has happened. I can keep the change or undo the change. So for now, let's just keep the change. All right. So this was just a small demonstration of how agent works. And that was my third point actually, to have a simple workflow for a beginner to understand how do you make a change, how do you review the change, and you can even roll back the change because we saw the option of keep and undo, right? Now, there are something called as modes which you should know about, and the modes are agent mode, plan mode, debug mode. We have other modes as well like multitask mode, we have ask mode, but let's worry about these three modes which are very useful to understand as a beginner. The agent mode is what we are currently working on. If I just open the agent, you will see in the bottom hand side, we are in the agent mode, but we have a plan mode, we have a debug mode, we have a multitask mode, and we have a ask mode as well. When we are in the agent mode, that's where it actually uses the tools and does the change in your code. So agent mode is like implementing the change directly. Plan mode is generally used if you have a bigger task where you do not want to implement the change directly, but you want to create a plan before the coding. Once the plan is approved, you can switch to agent mode and implement that plan. And you have a debug mode, which is useful when you have some bugs, when you have some performance issues. You can find the root cause and you can debug that particular root cause and improve your code. So a simple rule of thumb is, if you have a small task, use the agent mode. If you have a bigger but unclear task, use the plan mode. If you have a hard bug or any bug or performance issue, use the debug mode. So that's what the agent modes are all about. We will talk about the multitask and ask mode going forward in this series a lot. So don't worry about the modes, but at least know about the modes. Now let's talk about tools which are worth demoing. The terminal tool. Our agent got some tools, right? Terminal, browser, search tools, canvas tools, and we actually have seen the use of search tools. If you remember, we told our agent to read this simple notes app, right? But we didn't give this agent the exact project name. But it has a search tool using which it can understand the symbols, the search terms, and know which project you are talking about. Obviously, simple notes app matches this one and not the introduction, right? And I told it to add a random utility function. It could have just created a new file, but it knows that there is a file named as utils. Even though it is not named utility, this is something called as semantic search, where the search is being happening using the meaning or by find by meaning. So the meaning here is utility function. Utils is very close to utility function, so it has utilized this utils.py file and does the change in this particular file. So that's the search tool. Talking about the terminal tool, we run commands from the chat and it works in the sandbox controlled environment and it requires approval. For example, if I just ask this particular agent to run my project, and let me tell you one more thing which is helpful in an agent chat window, which is add symbol. When you click on add symbol, you got a lot of things to add as a context in your chat. I can directly add a terminal, but let's not add a terminal for now. Let's add a files and folders, and I want to add this file, simple notes app. Here I'm saying run my project, simple notes app. I'm specifically telling it this is my app, so it doesn't need to search anymore, right? Now hit enter. It will try to run your project, right? But the thing is, this will run in a terminal, right? So here it is utilizing the terminal, and that's what we call as terminal tool. It can run your commands from the chat, and it does require approval. If there are things which needs to be done, it does requires approval. It can run few commands by itself without approval, but definitely if there are things which are related to security, like you can see right now, I'm trying to run a code, I'm trying to run a project, it's not running, but it is asking me to run. So it's asking my approval. So when I say run, then only it will run that particular command. So now the run has happened and you can see that the project is running, right? Let me just close the project for now, but you have just seen the demonstration of how your agent use terminal. Even if you have let's say a terminal open, let's say I have a terminal open, right? And I run the command, let's say ls in this particular terminal. I can refer to this terminal in my agent. I can say at terminal. So it will give me the option of terminals. I can select my terminal, ZSH, that's my terminal. I can select this terminal and ask it something. So let's actually switch to something called as ask mode, where we just ask few questions about things which doesn't change your code at all. So let us just ask, what are the commands which had ran in this terminal? So you can see that our agent can utilize the terminal, right? It knows that the commands which had run is clear and ls. So that's good, right? So we got some browser tools as well. So let's make use of a browser tools. I can say at browser, open google.com and search for Cursor AI. So it has the capability to open google.com in browser and do a search for Cursor AI. So you can see we have a browser now. It has navigated to google.com. Now it will try to do the search, and the search term is going to be Cursor AI. So it can do it. I believe it should do it. Yes, it has fed the search term Cursor AI, and now it just needs to hit enter, and it has hit enter, and you can see the Cursor AI search has happened, right? So even it has the access to browser tools, which is really good if you want to perform some automation testing on some UI. It has a canvas tool as well, which is better than long markdown tables for analysis and report, right? It can create a canvas for you. You can ask your agent to create a report in a canvas about something, and it can do it. But a good tip here is agent is going to pick the tools automatically. It's not your job every time to tell the agent what tool to pick. It's the agent's job. But your job is to write a clear, intentional instruction so that your agent can understand what to do and it do what it needs to do, right? So I guess this is what you need to understand if you are a beginner in using Cursor AI or the Cursor IDE about agents. If you know all these things about agents, definitely you can make use of the agents part of Cursor in a really good way and assist yourself in writing the code. And before we end the video, just a simple tip is always try to use the @ symbol, and then you will see a lot of different options to be added in the chat, and all these things are added as a context. How this is useful? Now, if you provide it better context, more context to your agent's chat, then it will have the direct access or the direct knowledge about what data and what source to see, and based on that perform the action. If you do not provide the context, it will try to create the context by itself, and it can do mistake, and even if it doesn't do the mistake, it involves some extra cost, right? So try to give it an instruction which is better, which is full enough so that it can perform the actions better, right? And guys, this is the third video of this series. Later on, I'm going to come up with more videos on the Cursor IDE series where we are going to see about commands, skills, rules, agent SDKs. So there are a lot of things which are coming in. Just stay tuned in this series. Make sure that if you are understanding something from the video, then you hit that like button, which gives me some motivation to work more on these videos. And if you're new to the channel, then make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well. And if you have some questions, some doubts, or some concerns, then make sure that you put it in the comment box. I want to see you guys again in my video, so make sure that you do subscribe to the channel or leave your feedback. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching this one.